Metabase is a BI platform that sparks very different emotions in users. Some say that's a simple and efficient tool that allow you to build your analytics quickly and without hassle. Others argue it's too basic, lacking the features that needed to build interactive and powerful dashboards. So who is right? Let's figure it out. Hi, I'm Nick, founder of Valiotti Analytics Data Consultant. We help businesses to set up analytics and turn their data into the profit. Welcome to the first episode of our BI tool review series. Let's start with exploring Metabase and see what this tool is about. Start with the Metabase website, and this website shows us the product. So there is a video available that showcase quickly what types of functionality Metabase has, and then we can drill down to the product. So product basically is kind of different types of version. You will see it exactly in the pricing page. So in the pricing page, we have open source type of the Metabase, which we will consider in this video. And there are also like starter, pro, and enterprise. Those are the version that you can utilize on your company and use it like as a cloud. But today we're going to take a look at the open source version, which is self-deployed, and we will drill down into some functionality of this open source version. However, the product is much bigger. For instance, here in the pro version, there are some nice features that you have to take a look, because if you wish to like customize the product somehow and make your custom branding, and so include some some interactive embedding, remove the Powered by Metabase badge, you'd rather use the Pro version since it has more functionality even in this single sign-on and other features. But today, for the illustration purpose, we will start to take a look at the just simple open source version. And we see something simple with nothing excessive. Here on the left, we have some kind of a panel that shows us some collections. This is like folders that allow us to understand how we structured our data. We can browse our models, databases, and metrics, which we'll cover a little bit later. And here also we have kind of latest stuff that we built, that we used. And when I click a new button, there is a question first. And questions are something that we get from Metabase, how Metabase encourage us to work with the data. Basically to think, what type of question do we have to our data? And so when I click here, I have some questions that I built myself before. Let's say I'm willing to understand the average profit group by state in my current environment. So here it is kind of a pre-built model. So I can use two different columns, and let me just summarize and see the average profit that will be just split by state. And so in case I use the question here, I can visualize my data and I see exactly how many like revenue each state is generating. And then I can save this and I can use it in my dashboard, or I can go and somehow just tune my visualization. So here I have the colors. I can change the color palette if you wish, and there is like region map, or and I can choose like world or United States. But because we have like location data available for the United States, we simply use the United States map here just to showcase what is going on with the data. And now if I click the SQL query option, now I'm allowed to just write the query statement in this open box text area. So I'm writing something like select maybe location code. There is nice autocomplete that helps me. And then probably I'd love to maybe summarize data by extended price. Yeah, I have this field and I can do it from my table. So I have B sales line items. And now, I have some error right now, right? Because I don't group by my location code. And actually the query should produce an error. But instead, I just would love to run the query button. And so if I run it, it says, okay, you have some issues with it. you have like column must be appeared in the aggregate function. And let me showcase you quickly some other options that I have. And one day I was thinking, if there any LLM available for the Metabase, so if I can fix my query quickly. So here I found an interesting solution. This is kind of a Metabase Copilot. It is a Chrome extension. And if I go into this Chrome extension, it is already installed in my environment. So I have it here. And then I can go to my SQL statement. And in this SQL statement, I can run this Metabase Copilot. And hopefully it will run now, because I just probably need to refresh the page, and I will do it. And when I refresh the page, you see I have some prompt available. So maybe if I write here something like fix my query, it should produce the correct query. And so it just uses some wrong metadata, but basically it corrected my query, and I have group by option. And if I run this query right now, it will produce me an interesting result. So basically I have location data and some of my revenue, and I can go into the visualization options, and I can produce some nice chart. I can tune this chart. Maybe I can, just change the color to the red instead. And then in this display, I have some other options to produce, but also I can, just somehow remove the range, and I can show the different range that if I wanted. And then I can remove lines if I don't want them, and marks. So it's quite like, tunable for you to display whatever you wish. Still, however, it's not like in Tableau sometimes in terms of like some options that you have to customize your visualization, but it's quite powerful. What's more about this visualization, you can drill down into some stuff. So you can save this query, maybe location splitted, I don't know, something like that. If I save this, I can add it to the dashboard, but I don't want to do so. I can now go and filter by this value. So in this scenario, when I have more like kind of complex visualization, which is like drilled down not only by location but some other stuff, I can then just drill down and do kind of a self-exploration with this chart if I wish. Let me showcase you quickly some other opportunities that I have. If I go to the question, and probably I would love to see some questions that I built for myself. For instance, there is a sales by salesperson table, and I can quickly showcase you what I have in this question. Basically, it's a simple table that shows me sales split by salespersons. And what I can do here is, for instance, I'd love to use kind of a conditional formatting. And I can add a rule. So if I wish, I can go into this total number of sales. And then if I just show like, maybe I'd love to somehow encode colors of the rows based on this column total number of sales. If it's less than, let's say, 30, I'd love to turn it red, right? So I can even highlight the whole row. So it is how I now see my data. But I can also do something different. I can use the color range instead. And so color range will show me some kind of a palette. So from maximum to the lowest amount of sales. And it's like kind of a gradient, if you wish, to show the highest and the lowest values. Now let's get back to our original SQL query that I built. So again, I'm writing this select allocation code. Then I can just sum extended price, or maybe cost in this example, from B sales line items, and then I group by to have my query correct. And so now I can run this. Oh, you see, something is wrong. Maybe I produced an error, but here Metabase allows us to fix the query. And so if I fix it, the Copilot will run. But however, today I've reached the daily limit. So instead, I would be able to fix it by myself. So I will fix the query and run it again. Now again, I produced the simple table with the sum of costs split it by locations. And now let's go through the different visualization options that we have. So basic one is a table, simple table that shows us values. Now we can do the bar chart. Horizontal bar chart produces the nice visualization. Then we can produce line. This is more suitable for time series data. Then we can also go into the pie chart that produces us some kind of a share of a certain location code. Then the bar chart that we already have seen, like vertical. And then we can go into the area combo, which includes several different options to have in one chart. Then there is a funnel chart option. It's quite useful for producing stuff for conversions. Then we can go into details that produces us some kind of a card. Sometimes it can be helpful if you can display like information about a certain customer and you wish to show some different columns at once. There is a map. We already have seen the map. And there is a scatter plot if you have different axes available. And then there is option of a waterfall. This is useful for financials. If we are go for one indicator to like some other in the future, we can showcase how we have gone to this new version of metric. And there are some other charts like KPIs, pivot table, trends, speedometer chart, progress bar chart, and Sankey. And yeah, this is quite extensive, but maybe we are somehow limited this number of type of visualizations, but they are quite useful to build and produce nice and comprehensive dashboard. Now let's get to the dashboard. So in dashboard, if we would love to maybe build some kind of a sales dashboard, I can name it the sales, and then I will discard some charts and I can add saved questions. So basically, maybe I have some chart here available. I can show my average profit group by state. I can add something else, and I can add something else as well. And now I have the graphical user interface that allow me to resize the different charts, and this UI helps me to use the grid to produce a nice visually looking dashboard. So I can, just create a composition out of my different charts and include some text box as well. So produce some comments, include some filters if I wish. So this is quite powerful to build dashboards and quite easy to understand actually. We can replace, duplicate different charts. So there are some options available. Include a filter or parameter. Yeah, the dashboard feature is quite nice here. Now let's get to the models, because models are quite interesting opportunity to build like a data mart. And you can use either notebook editor, as we've seen before in the questions, or native query. Let's use the native editor. So let's say we have a table, B, sale line items, and we'd love to produce kind of an aggregation. So we would love to see extended price grouped by locations plus grouped by, I don't know, maybe some type of a CO subtype. And now if I run the play button, it will produce me kind of a data set. You see, there is different types of SOP and location codes, and we produce some of this. And so this is kind of a model that we can save and we can use it after all. Now we can build any like visualization with it. So maybe we would love to see how our different types of SOP split it across different locations. And so basically we can use this model in the future. So if you'd like to, drill down or share it with some other analyst in your team, he or she will be able to go through the model and benefit from it because it's already somehow aggregated. So what's more about the models, it's that we can also include so-called model actions. And here in this Metabase website, they quickly showcase you what the model actions can do. You can update a certain amount of rows in your table based on the model. And to do so, I'm not quite sure I'm available to do it right now within my current environment. But let me go again back to this Metabase and go to the admin settings. And so in admin settings, I have databases and then my PostgreSQL database, and there is a trigger, model actions. I have to turn it on to build some actions. However, I guess my username is not permitted to write into the database. That's why I don't quite see any model actions available when I build new model. So maybe I have to turn it on with some permissions of my user. And also there is a quick note for other fishes. Let's say we have metrics available. So if we click metric, we can build a new metric. So there is a sales by salesperson. Let's say we want to sum maybe total amount of sales. And so if we just sum this, we will have the total amount of sales available, correct? Because we just sum all the sales based by all salesperson. And this is like a metric to show you the total amount of sales that you have in your environment. You can save it and your teammates will be able to deal with this metric. And now let's get back to this new button. So we have a collection. So to organize all the stuff that we are building, we can create different collections. Here's what Metabase looks like from the inside. Let's start first with the good stuff. Metabase's biggest advantage is its simplicity. In BI tools like Tableau and Power BI, you will spend hours to fine-tune a simple chart. Building dashboard is far from a simple task. It's not something you even can do in a day. In Metabase, creating charts takes just a few clicks, and even no SQL is required. This makes it a great option for building self-service analytics. Adding new elements to a dashboard is just as easy, and you don't have to worry about breaking up something or messing with filters. Maintaining and updating analytics in Metabase is quite simple. If you ever get stuck, Metabase has detailed documentation. It includes a beginner's guide and a learn section. This section covers SQL and even database design. They have even launched a video series on YouTube that teach you how to build analytics with Metabase and SQL. It's clear and easy to follow. In theory, somebody, even without any skills or knowledge of building SQL queries, may create a dashboard himself or herself. In practice, it's not always that simple. If you need more advanced calculations that go beyond the question tool, you will have to write full SQL queries. We've had some customers who tried to set it up themselves, but they ran into the trouble and ended up coming to us for the help. I'll share some of their stories in a bit. Another big advantage, Metabase connects to a wide range of the database available. According to their website, they support more than 20 different options, including relational databases and NoSQL databases such as MongoDB. And yeah, for those who are asking, of course, it supports Excel and Google Sheets. If you are using some kind of a niche database, you will have to write driver yourself. But I guess that's not really Metabase's fault. After all, you chose the database and not using PostgreSQL like others. The third advantage is accessibility. Metabase offers flexibility with their deployment options. If you choose to host it in-house, it's completely free of charge. But of course, you have to maintain your virtual machine and deploy it yourself, or you can opt in for the cloud version. The starter license for up to 5 users will cost you $85 per month. It includes the technical support and of course the tool updates. For larger teams, there is a pro version available for $500 per month, and it includes up to 10 different users. And the pro version offers additional functionality. There are features like advanced access control settings, enhanced dashboard customization options, and the ability to create separate environments for testing and for production. And of course, branding capabilities. It allows you to customize the platform for just following your brand guidelines and also to remove Powered by Metabase badge in the bottom of the page. Of course, you can use your own colors, logos, icons, whatever you wish. You can set up your homepage settings as well. Well, I've covered the most pros I know, and let's look at some of the cons. Interestingly, one of the biggest advantage of Metabase is even its biggest criticism: simplicity. That is usually why Metabase has been criticized, and why many people will leave Metabase for any other advanced BI tool. It offers a basic set of visualizations, and with the Pro version, it introduces some advanced features like row-level security, and then updates some frequency settings and tuning the alerts that is available for you. And it looks like all the basic functionalities are covered. However, probably for some users these features remain quite basic. And for those who are looking for ready-made visualization, probably there are fewer options than in some tools such as Superset. In the open source version, the customization is quite minimal, and it makes it quite difficult to make a dashboard following your brand guidelines. However, the Pro version offers slightly more customization options. Despite these upgrades, the tool still lacks of advanced functionality. For instance, the ability to perform forecasts and create statistical models on top of your data. Overall, it's great for creating basic dashboards and visualization, but at the same time, it quickly exposes its limitations. We had a customer who wanted to migrate from Google Sheets and rebuild their tables in the Metabase. And at first, it seemed like a very straightforward task. But we ended up struggling with the task for a long time. And this was one of the scenarios when you are actually hitting the roadblock at each step. So in tables and Metabase, you don't have ability to change the column widths. You can't freeze the row and the column to scroll your table down or right. And some pivot tables, they are also building another issues. They are terribly lagging on large data sets, and you can only build them with the question tool. Things can be even more complex when you need some advanced calculation that goes beyond the question tool, and you need to write the simple SQL query for that. And the documentation provides some option how to bypass it, but unfortunately it doesn't always work. Here is what the client's table looked like. It was used to track the marketing metrics. They wanted to expand it horizontally, meaning that the number of rows will stay fixed and they just will add new columns to the table to scroll it horizontally to the right. But unfortunately, Metabase doesn't support this feature. Maybe it's a corner case. So the only solution was to add pagination, which will show the next 10 weeks. And if you wish to see the 11th week, you have to write manually figure 1 in the next 10 pages field. And here is another table with a day's worth of data. And in Google Sheets, it will be like a table with some freezed columns to always keep them visible. In Metabase, we have to create different subtables on the one page to show all them at once. It might seem like a trivial task to create different tables, but sometimes in Metabase it could be even a challenge. Ultimately, customer decided not to migrate from Google Sheets, so they kept the tables in the Google Sheets and didn't migrate to Metabase to leverage tables feature. Another difficulty you may meet is running Metabase across large datasets. Sometimes SQL queries run slowly and dashboards takes forever to load. You can try to add cache and add filters to prevent dashboards to run all the charts at once. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't help too much, but one way or another, Metabase is not designed to work with the complex and large datasets. However, in my company's practice, some advanced tools, even with more functionality than Metabase, could be not so efficient as Metabase can be. As an example, let's explore a dashboard that we built for our client. And this company, they migrated from Power BI to Metabase. And the idea was just to go off the Power BI complexity and not so easy to understand type of interface and move to something more simple, such as Metabase. But as well, they wanted to introduce more kind of visualization options. However, we've seen how the Metabase is limited. But even in the case of limitations of Metabase, we've covered all the features they wanted to introduce in their dashboard. Let's see what we have here. And so this is kind of a published version of the dashboard. We can export this tab as a PDF, and this will produce a static picture available in the PDF. However, we see that this dashboard shows us the revenue goal, the net revenue, the total number of sales Also, we have some charts split by location for the current year. It shows the total amount of sales, the goal, the year-over-year change. And then we see some, goal pacing. So we set some goals on a certain months, and then we can just show how we complete or we don't complete any type of goals. And there is also some kind of a relative metric that shows how we go through the plan. Some other tabs available, but also I'd love to showcase the feature that we have here. We can filter it to a certain location, and if I add the filter, it will start to run SQL statements against all these charts and filter my data just to the location number 3. So I will have my dashboard like as an interactive tool that shows me KPIs for my allocation, and all these charts will be also filtered. There are other tabs available, customer and products, which also produce me kind of total amount of sales by customer. Because I've clicked the location as a filter, it is now been executed again. But now I see that I have the chart with the total figures that I wanted to see. So there is a pie chart, and nicely about it is that this table has the same color as the pie chart. So we show the conditional filtering applied as the rule that we have in this pie chart. And so some other interesting options are like there is a pivot table, and the pivot table shows you the totals for categories and some information split by items. So we have all this stuff with the different metrics available. And we can also drill down in a certain customer class or customer name to show more detailed data. And finally, we have the sales team performance, because they had different teams in place and they wanted to see how these teams were performing. And now again, we have to wait until this dashboard will execute all the queries. But again, the composition of a dashboard shows us some KPIs, some stuff that have some conditional formatting in it. So shows us the negative margin for certain salesperson teams. So that was the public version of the dashboard. But now I am interface of the Metabase. You see there is a Metabase logo. And what's different when I'm just logged in the Metabase? I can drill down into certain chart and it will produce me this nice chart, and I can start to drill down to see more details. I can even open the editor to see how the query was built. You see this is quite complex one, based on different models that we built. And I can maybe copy and paste some parts of this query, and then I can execute it again and see what I need. I can go from it and maybe tune my visualization. So in the Metabase interface, it's more like kind of powerful for me to go into details and to see what I can do next with my self-exploration. Yeah, we've seen some examples of like multiple access charts. So you see there are two different metrics available on one chart. And for a customer, it was quite complex to produce all of these charts themselves. They don't have enough skills to do so in Metabase, but we handled it easily. And that's why they asked us to do so. So shall we wrap things up? Who would I recommend Metabase to? It's perfect for teams who don't have time, budget, and resources to invest in tools like Metabase, and even free but technically demanding superset. If you don't have time mastering another solution, Metabase is a great choice. Even if you don't have time but not the budget for the expensive license, Metabase is still a great choice. It's also a great fit for teams who want to create a self-service analytics solution, where anyone can create charts in a few clicks and generate simple and accurate dashboards. Especially when you need some insights just 5 minutes before a meeting. In these cases, Metabase is the perfect tool. But maybe Metabase is not the best option for everyone. Need complex calculations on big data? Metabase isn't the best fit. It also falls short for teams with strong design requirements, since it's lacking of the deep customization of your dashboards and like any custom colors or branding options. I mean the open source version. Of course, if you go to the Pro, it will allow you to do all of that. And that said, Metabase is a perfect choice for creating basic analytics. Don't let its limitations and modest customization options discourage you. It offers more than enough functionality to create clear and informative dashboards. Just keep your expectations realistic. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this video and which tool would you like me to review next. And of course, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. There is plenty more valuable content about analytics coming your way. See you in the next one.